Welcome to Brupeg. So we have Dangar Stu with us today.
Hello.
And Scott.
And Scott's a
Morning.
Patreon of Brupeg. So we're up here getting a whole bunch of stuff done on the boat. Scott's helping us with some network gear, and Dangar Stu's just fluffing around.
Making trouble, that sort of thing.
They never cause trouble.
So if you've never seen Brupeg before, and if this is a regular thing for you guys, chuck where you're watching in the comments. We'd love to know where you guys are actually viewing from.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to sort of see where around the world you're coming from.
Gives us a sense of what time it is for you as well.
Yeah.
Morning, night, whatever.
If you've never seen Brupeg before, we know we've got a bunch of new subscribers that this might be their first live feed. If you've never seen Brupeg before, Brupeg is historically was a fishing trawler. She sunk, was underwater for 2 months, and we bought her when she'd been pulled out of the water, and we're now converting her to a global expedition and research boat.
And
So-
the cargo, sorry.
So the plan is to basically take Brupeg to some pretty remarkable and remote places like Antarctica, Northwest Passage, Patagonia, some of those sort of places, and we might even go to some warm places as well. So I'll hand over to Jess, and she can do a bit of an intro about who we are and what we're after.
Yeah, well, that pretty much covers it, really. We've had the boat 5 years. It was on the hard for a year, just sitting there while we saved up. Then we did 2 years travelling back and forth, about 5 hours driving every weekend, and then we ended up living on the boat 2 years ago. So we live on this work site as we're building. It's got its own challenges. And we have volunteers coming all the time to the boat. We have our lovely Patreons visit from around the world and help us, and Scott's one of them. And it's going great. We're actually hoping to be launched in 3 months. That's slightly optimistic. Probably it'll be a maximum of 4. We're really pushing now. We really want to get in the water. This is cool. Everyone's
Some awesome comments coming through.
Yeah. So we're going to do a bit of an update about where we're at. We do a Patreon live feed every month that looks forward. So we kind of talk with our Patrons about what we're up to, problems we're having with projects, what projects. We call it the round table. So patrons get a chance to have some input into what we're doing, and when we're on the water and we're doing expeditions or we're doing projects, looking at undersea stuff or whatever, they'll be involved in that monthly, the sort of like the planning group. But this is looking kind of backwards. It's kind of an overview of where we've come from, come in the last 3 months. We're actually 4 months now, and also it'd be great for Stu to give an update where he's at with his project and talk a bit about his project so you guys can get familiar with that as well. So do you want to talk a wee bit about your project and your channel and who you are?
No.
Introduce yourself.
So those who don't know, I'm doing up a smaller trawler than Brupeg.
That's very cute.
It's very cute. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks. Yes. And it's getting close to being ready. It's in the water now. Did a fair bit of work on the hard stand. Put it in the water. It's been floating for about 4 months, but it's still not running under its own steam. Just had the engine rebuilt. Just put the engine back in. Now I've got to realign the engine, like realign the prop shaft, cooling water, exhaust, and then turn the key, and happy days. Then I'll come up to Bundaberg and annoy you guys.
We've been talking about how we're going to redesign Stu's boat, put 3 levels on it, a full width bridge,
Wings,
helipad,
Yeah, a lot of ideas have been happening.
aft accommodation apartment.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're thinking, it should be next door to us. We'll put a little platform across. Yeah.
And Scott's up doing a whole bunch of network gear on Brupeg, so setting up all of our storage and IT systems and running the network and creating the network around the boat and so
Finding the problems and solving them.
It's been fun.
Nothing has caught fire. It's awesome. Yeah.
Just finding things like little screws or
Yeah.
cords, just doesn't happen.
We spent half a morning driving around Bundaberg trying to find 16 screws. All of us, it was the most effective use of time we could find.
But we have got through lots of work. It's been great. So, sort of an update. How are we going with?
So some of the things that we've been working with on Brupeg over the last sort of 3 months. The last time we did one of these live feeds public was October last year, so it's been a few months for us. And in that time, we've got a fair whack of work done. So Dennis Bailey, one of our Patreons from Canada, came over and he gave us a hand to do
Dennis.
a whole bunch of stuff.
Commenting
Yeah,
already.
he's on the live feed. So we were doing the generator downstairs, the main engine exhaust. We had to replace some studs and do some exhaust work on the main engine. We got a bunch of work done on the diesel generator downstairs. We rebuilt the fuel pump 74 times.
Yeah, poor
And-
Dennis.
Yeah, and it's hard work. You know, it's in a narrow, small, confined space, and it's hot, and he did awesome. So we got a heap of work done on that. And then in the meantime, we built our electric dinghy. So if you haven't seen that series, it's a pretty interesting build. We basically got a hull from an inflatable dinghy, aluminium hull from an inflatable dinghy, ripped the tubes off it, and then built.
So I've been commanded.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Brett.
Yeah, and then built the aluminium tubes around that and converted it to an electric dinghy. So we've done sea trials on that. That was a fun little project. And then we've been working on the crash bulkhead most recently. So all up, that was 18 days of work from start to finish. So it was a huge job.
Oh yeah, we didn't expect to find what we found.
Yeah.
As if you've seen the episodes, it was hard. It was so hot. Thanks, Trevor, for all your help.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you made it so much easier.
So all of that is an enormous amount of work for us. That was probably 3 months' work from start to finish for all of that. And we're at the end of that group of work. And with Stu and Scott up here, we're getting stuck into our, as I said, the network build, and then Stu's also helping us with our stabilizers. So Brupeg, because we're going to some pretty full-on places, Southern Ocean is going to be like pretty normal cruising environment for us. Oh, hey. Oh, you're awesome.
Oh, thanks, Dennis.
Thanks. No, it's Madison.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sweetheart. Oh my God. Thank you, darling.
So yeah, the stabilizers basically keep Brupeg on an even keel, and they're essentially big fold down wings that come from either side of the boat on the chine of the boat, and they go down into the water. So Stu's been helping us put those together, and
I thought we were just test fitting them on Brupeg, and I was taking them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Misinformed.
You know, that would be really interesting. I wonder what they'd do.
Sink the boat.
That'd be hydrofoils on your boat.
It would get lower.
Yeah, so we'll show you some of the work that we've been doing on those as well. But
A little sneak peek at the end, eh?
sneak peek. We
Yeah.
cut some more stuff off Brupeg.
Actually cut some of the boat out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think you should auction off as souvenirs.
Jesus,
Own your
there's
own
every bit
piece of
metal.
Brupeg.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary.
Stabilizers like on Seeker. No, I think Seeker's got he's got a centre keel and then bilge keels which are fixed. Brupeg has hinged keels, so they literally fold up onto the side of the boat and then fold down when the boat's going through the water. So when they're down, the boat becomes another 16 feet wider basically, and when they're up, they're tucked up beside the boat. So it's similar but very different in a way. Right, so if you've got questions, chuck them down in the comments and we'll go through them. We'll catch up.
Yeah, we'll just stop talking and just answer as you do that. Yeah.
Stu looks naked without a beer.
Yeah. Are you in shot? Yeah.
The weed catch
Happy
is coming
Australia
off.
Day.
The weed catch is coming off now. No, I'm assuming you're talking about keel cooling. No, so they're staying on for 18 months or so.
I'm doing an episode in about 3 weeks, and we're going to talk about all the mods we're going to do to go to Antarctica. So we'll talk about how we're going to go in the water, we're going to use the boat, troll a lot on the boat, and then we're going to haul back out again about 6 months before we go to Antarctica, and we're going to do a lot of work like taking the keel cooler off and strengthening the front, and we're going to talk about that in an episode so it's really clear. Yeah,
sorry, John Tisdale, did we sort the anchor chain routing pipe? No, not yet. We're struggling to find someone that'll sell us a 2 metre length of really big diameter pipe. Everyone wants to sell a full length, which is 6 metres, and it's, you know,
really
expensive, and we don't need that. So
what do you call in big diameter?
500mm plus, with thick wall, so that it self-supports big chain.
So for anyone who doesn't know, this is so the chain can fall through the deck and into the, so it sort of stays really easy to pull back out again.
Harry Green, like the bow planes on older subs, they fold up. You're pretty similar to that actually. It'll make sense once you see what we've done outside.
Thanks, 6 knots. Great name.
How the Morse cable's coming along. So for those that aren't patrons, we've released a few episodes now and some information about what we're doing with that main engine controls. So we're running Morse cables. We were going to run electronic throttle and gears. We're running Morse cables now that are basically going from the bridge down into the engine room to the engine and gearbox. We have built the wall and built the conduit paths for them. We're just waiting on the cables to arrive. They should arrive this coming week, and we'll install those and then start mounting them onto the engine and gearbox. But yeah, that's all coming along nicely. The hard work's done now, so it's just a case of hooking them all together.
Fish and Cook Australia, Stu, when are you going to do a meet-up at yours?
Oh, right. So we've previously had a couple of meetups. I saw Mark on there. Hi, Mark, who's come to them. the plan really is as soon as the trawler's running again, I'll set a date, do a few sea trials to make sure it's, you know, not going to break down embarrassingly, and we'll definitely set a date. People can bring their tinnies and we'll go out and raft up to the trawler or whatever, have a barbecue. So I can't really set a date till it's running, because if I think it's going to run in 2 weeks, it'll run in 2 months. So once it's actually working, then we'll set a date shortly after then, for sure.
Sorry, I just got to jump in. Ian Cleary, were the compasses any good? He was the one that donated the compasses and the massive binoculars.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we were just talking about you this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
We haven't been able to get them going because they need a gyroscope. We have had a couple of ideas about that, because like you can get gyroscopes these days off drones and things that are quite small, and I have pondered, I wonder if you could get a small gyroscope and get the repeater working. So the compass is a repeater. We have pondered that. It wouldn't be the same as what it was when it was in the Navy ship. So for those that don't know, Ian Cleary donated an Australian, or 2 Australian Navy compass repeaters. So they're a big
Gorgeous
compass like
big
this,
things, yeah.
and they run off a gyroscope, and a gyroscope for these things is a massive big piece of equipment, like a ton worth of equipment. And obviously we don't have one and we don't have the room for it, but we have pondered like an electronic gyroscope that would send signals up to this repeater. So we've still got it in our mind how to actually get it working. So yes, they're not working yet, Ian, but we've got it on our mind to try and get it going.
Home baking's still waiting on Bluff. When you get it, hurry up.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
What are them silver light? Oh, who's that?
Oh, thank
Just
you.
one more. What kind of
Aw.
electronics are you going to use? Stu had an episode up on his.
Yeah.
We haven't actually decided on brands or anything like that. So we're probably going to go with sort of as much common gear as possible, so that there's no black boxes we can't fix ourselves. So it'll be probably PC-based navigation, sea maps or open sea, something like that. More of a commercial thing than what you'd see in the recreational market. That my background is being on commercial fishing boats, like big 1,000-ton trawlers and stuff. So it's probably similar sort of gear that you'd see on those is what we're going to put on Brupeg. Mainly because of the functionality. It's pretty amazing what you can do, but because it's PC based, you can put duplicates on something else. So if one system dies, you've got a backup straight away. You don't have to have 2 black box systems, sort of thing. So I can't really say much more than that, because I honestly don't know. I don't know what we're going to be using yet, but we will do a detailed episode on what we use when we come to that.
Are the bushfires close to us? No, but they've been close to you, eh?
Yeah, well, actually,
Earlier.
since I've come here, there's been one a couple of kilometres away, like really
Oh,
close. Like,
gee.
but I think it's under control now. But that started after I left to drive up here.
Right.
Once I'm not there keeping things in order.
What are the silver things behind your head? These are... Patreons know about this.
Yeah.
But these are 6-inch exhaust pipe flexi joints. So you weld exhaust on either end, and this piece in the middle can basically bend. So if you've got a motor here and an exhaust here, the motor can be jiggling around and the exhaust can be solid and stable, and it doesn't crack anything. So we found these at a scrapyard. There's 2 of them, and we paid $15 each for them, which is the deal of a century, because these are about $900 each, you know, if you can find them locally.
But
sort
the
of
funny
thing.
thing is, Dame and Trevor haggled them down. What was it they asked for?
They asked for $50 for 2, and we said, well, I'll give you 30. And they said, all right. And we were like, all right, here's your cash, and we quickly vamoosed.
Run!
Are those Chinese finger locks behind you?
Oh, thanks, Jerry.
Where are we going? Hang on. Stu got a hangover or a lemon in his mouth.
Both.
You can get a gyro and a microchip. Yeah, you're probably spot on there. Is it Alan Moran? You're probably absolutely right. I'm electronically allergic, so I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So although theoretically I can say it's probably possible, I have no idea how to do it. So I'm gonna defer to my 2 IT technicians here.
What?
Who?
I have an old DJI Phantom you can have. Could you rip the gyro out of a Phantom?
I don't know. Depends on what protocols they use.
Oh,
Okay. I don't know what you just said, but I'm just going
We'd
to nod
have
and
to-
smile.
is it?
Pull it apart and find
How do you
out.
say the name, right?
Is it Rianne Hunt?
Rianne. Yeah, get in touch, Rianne.
Yeah.
If you're serious, yeah.
if you're serious.
Get in touch through the website, just our email or
So
something.
brewpeg.com, and then just go to contact us, and there's an email address there. You can
Yeah, we'd
get
love
in
to talk
touch.
to you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you. Need to get on eBay and show Stu where to find the world's biggest exhaust for Renko's dry stack, just like Brupeg. Stu and Damien, where do I get your t-shirts? If you look at any of our videos, either channel, if you look at our videos, below it you'll see, so it doesn't work on smart TVs, but it works on PCs and I think phones. Below the video, you'll in the sort of the top of the description, you'll
Yeah.
see the ability to pick and choose like t-shirts, or it might be cups, or all sorts of stuff like that, hats, etc. For us as well, it's on the website as well. You can go to brupeg.com and there's merchandise on our website.
But usually also, so it goes through Teespring, which is the company that YouTube now use, and it's better integration. But so, for example, for me, it's like teespring.com/Dangar Marine or something like that. So yours will be a similar like
Yeah.
Teespring and Project Brupeg or something, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's Brupeg, isn't it?
Brupeg, yeah.
Brupeg.com for us, and then just go to
So you don't
merchandise
have
and
to
it'll
go
take you
through
there.
YouTube. You can go straight to Teespring if you're,
Yeah.
if you want. Yeah.
But if you're struggling, just check out the videos because you will be able to find it that way as well.
And of course, website, everything's there.
Yeah.
So
Double redundancy. So Ian Morris, double redundancy and everything is good. How much do you have built in on your systems? Can you clarify what you mean by that? How much do we have built in on our systems? Are you talking?
James really into the redundancy.
Yeah.
Actually, everything's pretty much going to be that way.
There's a minimum of double redundancy on pretty much everything on Brupeg when we're finished, but critical systems will have up to 4 layers of redundancy. So heating, when we go down to the ice, is actually potentially going to be up to 5. 5 independent systems, so if anything craps out, we've got plenty of backup, and we'll have the spares to fix the first few systems as well. So anything that's like life critical, so engine, fuel, heating, that sort of thing, is all, massive layers of redundancy on this boat.
Dennis, how are you going to raise and lower the stabilizers?
With thoughts and prayers. No, we've got 24 volt.
They're quite heavy, actually.
Yeah, they're probably what, 300 kg when they're finished?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. So they're quite big. They're pretty solid, chunky steel things. So that we've got a 24 volt DC winch on each wing. So that'll be lifting it up and down as we go. So it's power up and power down.
And of course,
we'll have a backup manual as well. So if like we'll manually pull them up if we need to get them up and out of the way. We'll have a manual winch that we can just crank up and ignore the 24 volt winch. How's the pull down computer monitor setup working for you? That's for you, for your Mac.
oh, brilliant. Yeah, no, fantastic.
That was Buddy Mac. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, really good, really good. You've got a little bit more to do on that, haven't you?
I do. I just
You've
need
got
to
put another.
adjust it slightly, and I've
Yeah.
got to put one more linear actuator to do screen like back and forth like that.
No, it's brilliant.
Bruno, hello from Sweden. When are you doing phase 2 of the Windows? Dave, how you going, mate? I was thinking about that this morning.
I
when we
keep
got-
reminding him.
Yeah.
I do.
Honestly, I'm trying to get to it.
Okay, so this week we have to.
We have to do it this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of work, so yeah, but we'll do it this week.
Hello from Scotland. Why is there no beer on the go?
There.
There
Plenty of beer.
Mini builder, I made it. Eco boater, how's the jet ski boat coming along? So jet ski has been chopped up, and we haven't started on the actual build of the jet boat yet. And it's possible we'll even build that when we're on the water. We'll build it in the lounge of Brupeg.
I think we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically the plan is for now is obviously cut the jet ski up, put it in the engine bay as storage essentially, and then when we go to build the aluminium hull and everything like that, we'll build the hull first, and then we'll drop the ski and motor and everything, drop the jet unit and motor and everything into that hull. But yeah, it's probably a few months away,
It's
isn't it?
amazing when you describe it like that. It sounds so easy, but 6 weeks for the little dinghy. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to take a while.
So your goal is to get on the water as fast as you can. Like all
Yeah.
those other jobs are just, if
Yeah.
it can happen on the water,
Yeah.
it'll happen on the water.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah. There's going to be like a year and a half
Do you
at
want to
least of
explain dump and
engineering.
run?
Yeah, so we've got a policy of dump and run, which is to do only what we have to do to be safe and moving on the water, so we can start trialing those sort of things on the boat that we need to, and we know that we're pulling out it, of course, for the polar mods. So we'll fix anything then. But where we are located, when the trawlers go in, oftentimes they do get pulled back out if something's leaking or something needs redoing. So we want to make the most of where we are as well and do all the trials. But we want to get moving. We've been there long enough.
Brad Scott, OpenCPN, if you want some free geeky navigational goodness. Brad, I downloaded OpenCPN and tried it, and it broke my head. I'm not IT savvy enough to be able to figure it out. The main issue I had is I couldn't get maps for it, and it might be because I'm not in America.
I got maps for OpenCPN, but it was
Okay.
quite an ordeal.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I had to buy them somewhere and convert them and
Yeah,
It
yeah.
needs
the
to
right
be
directory.
easy, eh?
Yeah, right.
But I have done that. I should have done a video on it.
Have we now got confirmation that Jess in fact shot JR?
With that hat, definitely.
No comment.
Brad Scott just found out, this is Digima, Brad Scott just found out about Pi Pilot. Looks like there's a lot of open source tech for boating sailing.
Right.
Um,
Cool.
Oh, policy.
Oh, thank you.
Polar Sector.
Aw.
So Lars and I'm sorry, I can't say your dad's name. Lars and his dad from Polar Sector. They're Patreons of ours, and they came on board Brupeg probably 2 weeks ago now. Awesome experience. These guys.
Oh my god, so much information because they're used to ice work, you know, like being in a boat on ice and just so much advice. And they went through the boat and just looked at every area of the boat. It was so helpful.
And it was really good to like talk to people that have done it as to how they set their boat up and how we're sort of changing some of the ideas that we had about Brupeg because of it. So it was incredibly like valuable meeting them for us to be able to gain that first-hand experience.
And it was a confidence building thing for us because so many people are frightened to try something like going to Antarctica, but you know, they're just really comfortable with that sort of thing. So yeah, it was brilliant.
These were the 8-foot people you're talking about.
Yeah. Is the Dennis Bailey, is the Actuator Quiet? Yeah, we swapped over to a new one, much quieter. It's slower. I don't know why. It's the same brand, it's the same company that sold it and everything, but for some reason it's a slower actuator.
But I can move it and adjust it to any depth I want, whereas before it was away or
up or down.
close.
Yeah.
No, it's brilliant.
Stuart looks shattered. We have worked him pretty hard.
Yeah.
I haven't worked this hard in my entire life.
Yeah. Kerry Green, the chain locker looks great, by the way. Awesome job.
Thanks,
mate. After so many days, I'm so good. I'm so glad that it looks acceptable. You know, like, man, it was a mission of a job.
Yeah. So hot.
Is it Kaka Point Lighthouse in your credits? Oh, is that the Catlins?
Yeah, it's the Catlins. Yeah.
I don't know if it's Kaka Point, but it's Catlins. Yeah. Who has the highest alcohol tolerance out of the four of you? Oh, I mean, 100% it's got to be Stu. But Stu's been in some serious training for a while now. Yeah.
Don't try this at home.
Yeah. I'm a professional. My other account, Leadfoot Fam. No, have you? No.
Thanks, Madison.
Yeah, Madison. Will you ever start and then finish a job on this boat? Dave Hunter. That's not how boats work.
Yeah, it's not how projects work.
Loxton finally made a live stream. Awesome. Good to see you here, Lox, mate.
Thanks, Brad.
Just finished binging Dangar's channel. Nice. Right. Are you changing the keel cooling before you go in the water or the next haul out? Do you want to do that one?
That'll be the next haul out. It's a big job, and yeah, we can leave it when we do the rest of the mods because there's a few mods to do. And you know, it works great in this part of the world. So.
Brad Scott, my donations are usually for Mishka treats.
Yeah.
So I'll put this towards adoption fees when you're ready for your next four-legged mate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great to help.
Yeah, it's just not the same without little Mish running around.
I know. Jay Powell, yeah, I like Brupeg. Maybe meet someday in person. Thank you. Smiles, great attitude from your wife as well. Yeah, nice. Just when I'm in Canada, do you have weak or strong beer here? What qualifies you to license, operate, card, go? Oh, okay. So, I'm in Canada. Do you have weak or strong beer? It depends what you're drinking, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a huge variety, but it's.
Can you call Cooper's beer? It's more just possum urination with alcohol. Oh, that's stew for the day.
Don't insult the beer man.
Don't talk ill about my beer. I had a Canadian mate that used to refer to beer as his friend. It was awesome. Right, what do we got? Where am I up to? Oh, what qualifies you to license, operate, like a license to go boating? So, depending on where you are, in Queensland, where we are, in Australia, you need to have a license to drive a boat. It's pretty basic. It's a 3-hour course or something like that, I think, from memory. In other parts of the country, you don't need a boat license. And once you're out of Australia into different countries, obviously, you know, there's different rules that apply. In New Zealand, where we're from, you don't need a license to drive a boat.
But this might relate to the other question of like, we're not going to use this boat commercially.
Yeah, right.
So, and here you need to be in survey to. In Australia, you need to be in survey to use the boat commercially, but we're not doing that. We're a boat full of volunteers, so it's very different. So we're not in survey, and we won't be going into survey. Clean up in hole 3. Happy Aussie Day, Stu. Mike.
Start as you intend to continue, I say.
Dennis, it's the testosterone. What did Dennis say? Jess looks stronger today. It's the testosterone.
It's the hat.
Is that lemon squash what you guys call flavoured water? Call beer flavoured water? The comments keep moving.
Yeah.
Where are we?
You do need chickens.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
A couple of Stu's chickens will make his way onto Brupeg.
Aw.
Mike from Missouri. How you going,
guys
buddy?
provide all my boat daydreams here in the long winters. Yeah.
In the prairies of Montana.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah.
Stu back. He needed to be able to answer questions about beer. It's an example he prepared earlier.
Yeah.
I wish they had Coopers here in Tennessee. What is it similar to stateside? I don't know. Roadkill.
Do you know?
Similar to good question. So it's a pale ale, but I don't think it's as bitter as like a full sort of pale ale. Yeah,
It's quite a full-bodied beer.
It is. Yeah, it's a bit cloudy. Like it's not clear.
It sounds like a wine tasting. It's a
It's-
full-bodied beer.
It's brewed in the bottle too,
Yeah.
and the label with what Stu's drinking actually has a best after date.
Yeah, right.
Not a
yeah.
best before date. It's a best after date.
Is that because it's feral before then?
I think it tastes better with age.
Yeah.
Peter Jelly, what fire suppression fighting systems are you going to install? So we'll have multiple fire extinguishers throughout the boat, but we'll also have
Thanks, Brad.
that's awesome. Matt, you're
Oh, thanks, Matt. Oh.
the fire suppression system in the engine bay is going to be one where we can basically set off the suppressor whilst not being in the engine bay. So
You're
everything.
gonna have cameras, right?
Yeah,
Rotating cameras and stuff.
there'll be cameras in the engine bay so we can monitor what's going on in there, but we'll also be able to set it off remotely. So we haven't built any of that stuff, so I'm talking in big generalizations here. But we're going to pretty much follow commercial sort of standards and copy what the trawler guys are doing. There's a reason they do it that way. It's generally bloody good reasons why it's, they have the rules that they have. So we're going to try and emulate that as much as we can. Love Jess's hat would, don't move. Love Jess's hat would fit in here in Eastern Oregon. You're awesome, Matt.
I'm surprised you're letting me wear it.
So on the fire thing, one thing I've been talking to Ray Marine about is a camera they have, and you put it in your engine bay, and it's a dual visible spectrum, infrared spectrum camera, and you then you can then sort of draw polygons on the field of view and say, right, nothing in this polygon should ever get above 100 degrees Celsius or whatever.
Yeah.
And that can be your exhaust manifold, your batteries, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you'll get alarms. So I think it's kind of the high-tech version of the smoke alarm or the temperature alarm. So I think one is being able to fight the fire, the other is getting really early notification of when there is an issue.
Yeah.
And that can not be long before a fire with this technology. It can be like, okay, this normally runs at 9 degrees all day, every day, and suddenly it's hit 105, so something's wrong. Hasn't caught fire yet, but something's not right. Cooling water's died, whatever. And I think that's a really nice insurance policy for an engine bay that you can't see without opening the door. So.
Yeah. Plus the risk of if something is on fire and you open the door, you let a heap
let
of
the air
oxygen
in.
and then you let
So have you
flames
got
out.
like shut-off valves for your air intakes and things like that?
We'll be building them,
yeah.
yeah. So we shut off. We've got 4 air intakes and
Yeah.
1 air exhaust.
Yep.
And all of them will have,
Have flaps on them, yeah.
And they'll be
Yeah.
spring-loaded, so like you pull a pin and it
Just
like
drops.
shuts fast
Yeah.
and yeah.
Is that built?
So
Is that supposed to be Mishka?
I miss Mishka, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we did too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was a bit of a character.
Yeah.
H.O. Madsen, are you making a Euro chat or is this the only one? This will be the only one for today. But Euro can obviously watch after the fact. This video will stay
Definitely
live.
not the same, is it? Yeah,
No.
we're trying to sort of navigate that. We'd love to keep doing the two, but
Yeah.
for us, it's an exhausting day and it's a work day as well.
Yeah.
So.
Why don't you just do a 24-hour live chat?
Yeah, come with
Get
us
in
through the
later.
day, maybe. Yeah.
How's the upside down? Where is it? Are you going to stay in the Southern Hemisphere or are you going north too? And thanks Stu for his movies and highly recommend him. Seen all your shows since he was there last. He saved my Honda BF90 that sunk.
Nice.
So
Love the Hondas.
are we going to stay in the Southern Hemisphere and are we going north? Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, we'll be south for a while and we'll get to Antarctica and we're thinking we'll leave Australia or New Zealand, go down to Antarctica, travel along to the peninsula in Antarctica and go up Chile, and from Chile we'll head north, so that's when it'll take a long time, it's a couple of years, so but yeah, definitely that's the plan. We want to do a lot of travelling around the world.
Chris D, how did the rest of you get into ships, commercial fishing also? Should we do left to right?
I got into boating. So boating for me started, I think, moving to Dangar Island. So it's an island you cannot physically get to the island without getting in a boat. There's no car ferry, you know, there's no bridge, anything like that. So that's where it started for me. And then I wanted to get my commercial skipper's license, so I went and worked as a deckhand on a big passenger boat in Sydney Harbour. Did my hours there, then went up to Newcastle TAFE to do my coxswain's course, got that, and then eventually got a job as a boating service officer for, was Waterways at the time, then became Maritime before I left. So did that for a while, and then decided that I'm not really that into rules, so enforcing them seemed pretty pointless. And
I really can't imagine you doing that job.
No, it's like, oh, you'd be right, mate, do what you want.
I was just thinking when the police become negotiable.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. You haven't got any life jackets, what's in the esky? So anyway, so yes, I got out of that. I enjoyed it, like it was great, 5 years, great experience. And then went back to doing other stuff, building and whatever. So that was my path.
Yeah, cool. For me, it was competitive yacht racing. So I did years and years and years of national level competition yacht racing all over New Zealand, and then moved to Australia. Actually, before I moved to Australia, I was doing commercial fishing all around New Zealand. So mainly the South Island of New Zealand. So we'd go.
And you were an auditor as
so
well on Korean fishing boats in the Southern Ocean.
Yeah, I started as a fishing person on a longliner, and then quickly realised that I didn't really like that, and but I loved being on the sea, and it felt like weeks at a time. You know, it was awesome, and I ended up the best job I ever had was being an auditor on Korean fishing boats. So they'd come to New Zealand, and I'd jump on the boat, and then we'd go off to the Southern Ocean for 4 or 5 weeks at a time, sort of thing. So I spent, you know, a long time down in the Southern Ocean, you know, a couple of thousand kilometres south of New Zealand.
Never seen him happier.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, I liked it so much I couldn't tell that I was the most feral smelling person on the planet when I came back to the wharf. And
Your clothes had to get burnt.
she literally would burn
Yeah.
my clothes. I'd get home, I'd strip off, and she'd like put them in the fire. Apparently they were unsavable.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Australia 13 years ago, I think it was, and did a lot of yacht ocean racing in Australia, mainly out of Sydney. And and then we bought a boat in Sydney, sailed it up to Brisbane, sold it in Brisbane, bought the trawler up here, and carried on rebuilding Brupeg. So I've been on the water since I was 9 or 10, something like that.
And it's in my family. Both my grandfathers were on the water. One was an engineer in the Navy, and the other was all about the fishing. I was brought up on fishing boats, and I was brought up in a port city in the south of New Zealand. So I was always surrounded by trawlers and big boats and fishing boats, and I just loved them. It was my favourite place. And then of course finding out that I married someone who's into boats as well, and particularly loved the engineering, it was great. So yeah, here we are.
I am not at all a boat person. Not really a boat person, but I've had family boats growing up and stuff like that. But I more enjoy watching people nut out problems and engineer their way to solutions and building things. I love watching people build things and learning the technical aspects of things. So that's what I really enjoy and get out of it.
I just want to jump into a couple of questions because we've got a fair few piling up. So, Jaeger NZ, will you be adding a lot of hydro and or wind generators as well before you launch?
Yeah.
Probably not before we launch, but we'll
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Apparently I'm wrong.
We can find about this later.
Yeah. We'll talk about this when we're off screen. So the plan is roughly 2 kilowatts of solar for now, and we'll have 2 1 kilowatt wind generators on the back corners of the roof on Brupeg. We're not going to do hydro generation because it's just not efficient in the sense that we'd be powering the boat with a diesel engine, pushing it through the water, trying to suck power back out with a hydro propeller. So it works good for yachts, but it's no good for a motorboat. You may as well just put an alternator on your main engine. So that's the
Or if you're anchored in a current or something, maybe, I guess.
yeah. Robin Hilliard, Stu, how fast does the tide get at Dangar Marine?
Oh, yeah, it does kind of hook through. Look, it's funny. It's technically, I think it's only sort of 3 or 4 knots, but I think so. But it just, it's deceptive. Like 3 or 4 knots of water coming past you is actually quite a chunk. Don't quote me on it. I should check it one day, but it's about that. It's enough. Like I watch people paddling around the island on their kayaks, and they get into the current and they
Not
paddle
go anywhere.
Yeah.
until they kind of turn pale and they turn around and just go the other way and give up. Like it definitely hoots.
Dave Halstead, say hello to my wife Retta, who never complains about me watching both channels. How you doing, Retta?
Hey, Retta.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Hello from Pennsylvania. Back down on the boat. I'm a dab hand at engine rebuilding if you need help. I know your style of engine rebuilding. I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you saving funny vids for April? I got the joke. Our vids are always funny. I brew Cooper's Draft, then put it in kegs.
Nice.
Warwick Jones.
Good man.
I know a guy who owns a small trawler that would be prepared to sample that. Hopefully the fire suppression.
Yeah, I've got no fresh water, no sewage tanks, and beer kegs.
They're your holding tanks.
Yeah,
Just empty beer kegs.
yeah. Once they're empty.
Canada.
Dennis Bailey, Canada has a higher alcohol content. Is that just a generalisation? Hey there from Ottawa. Thanks for the stream. Band who needs banning. I trust your judgment. Thanks, Mike.
Oh,
Boat, McRill, Fleur, Ray Marine. Yep, absolutely. Greetings from Germany. Greetings from Sweden. How the walls in the freezer room coming along for the Morse cables to run through? Yeah, the skeleton of the wall, like the studs and everything, is finished and epoxied. All the holes are cut for the conduit to run through. We've got the conduit. We're just waiting on the Morse cables to arrive. And Stu's currently using that as his bedroom.
Yeah.
So I'm reluctant to turn it into a building site while he's here. So we'll put it all back together shortly in the next
but
week.
you've done the floor too. We had to
Yeah.
make hatches in the floor so we could see
Yeah.
the build. So that's all been done as well. That's on the next episode.
Ah, this is perfect. So I'll let you answer this one, Jess. But Robin Hilliard, is there a Brupeg episode where you talk more about what sort of reinforcements you think you'll do in future for ice conversion, or is it just increasing hull plate thickness up forward?
Nice. Yeah, it's 3 episodes from now. We're doing an episode only on the ice mods. So we're going to go through the boat and we're going to explain them. We're going to also explain the trip and what we're requiring of crew and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So it'll just be the trip to Antarctica. We'll cover every part of it, so it'll be in there.
It'll give you an interesting rundown on kind of the unique systems that are needed to actually get a boat to Antarctica and back.
And how much work,
yeah,
Although
yeah.
like little yachts have been there and they've been fine,
Yeah.
but we just don't want to take any risks
Yeah.
like that.
Will Brupeg be meeting Renko at sea in the future? I wonder what the offspring will look like.
So,
Yeah,
yes.
I think the
We've been
answer's
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
it, yeah.
yeah. But nothing set in stone. But yeah, I think like if
It'll be timing, won't it?
yeah, if we can, we absolutely want to do
Yeah.
that. Mainly
It's
because
probably more likely to be me heading north slightly before you,
Yeah.
almost coming up for your launch.
Yeah.
I reckon
Yeah.
it's probably.
I'd say.
I think we need to, because there's certain things about boats you need to know and figure out and all that kind of stuff. So without a drag
who's
race,
fastest?
yeah, we need a drag
Yeah.
race. I think
Yeah.
that's an essential video.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
Stu's determined about the drag race.
Yeah.
I am. I'm keen. And a tug of war. Just,
Yeah, oh, that'd be interesting. Drag him around.
Joshua Barnes, I'm curious, how much do you think the ship weighs? So, right now Brupeg weighs 40 ton, but it's empty basically. There's no fuel. There's no supplies. There's no water. When we're heading to the ice, we'll be closer to 70 ton, so we'll have close to 30 ton of fuel on this boat, fuel and water and supplies and things like that. We hold, when we're in ice mode, we hold 27,500 litres of fuel. At the moment, we don't. We hold 9,000 litres of fuel and 7,000 litres of water, but that'll be rejigged. That configuration will be rejigged to suit the ice, because we need a lot more endurance and hence more fuel. When we've got a full fuel load, we'll have 8,500 miles of range, so we can. To give you an example of how far that will get this boat, we can start it up in Australia and turn it off at the North Pole without stopping or refueling. If we were to get another load, a full tank of fuel at the North Pole, we could steam all the way back again.
Hypothetically.
So we can, with one refueling, we can make it right the way around the planet. What about yours? How heavy is yours?
10 tons.
Okay.
And with one refueling, I can make it to Brooklyn. So, it's like,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Bill J, are you going to put a crane on the boat? We'll actually have 3 cranes on this boat when we're finished. So we've got the little one on the bow for our anchors. We'll have one on the roof of the wheelhouse for our jet dinghy, because that actually lives on just behind the wheelhouse on the lounge roof where we are now. And then we'll also have one on the back deck that allows us to pick stuff up essentially out of a dinghy on the water at the back end of the boat and bring it up onto the rear deck. So yeah, there'll be 3 cranes on this boat when we're finished. Highest beer alcoholic is Belgium.
That's interesting. Belgium.
Love the show. Anxious to see you on the water. Yeah, it's going to be pretty
Thanks.
cool.
Yeah.
That applies to both of us, I think.
11:30 p.m.
Oh, 11:30 p.m.
Yeah.
H.O. Madsen. About the thermal camera, of course, if the camera gets obscured, some debris that block the heat from passing through. That's true. SV Seeker thoughts?
Yeah, we thought we shouldn't really talk about another channel,
Yeah.
but we appreciate it's probably on some people's minds.
I haven't heard about that. What happened?
Nice to see you guys all again. Dinghy Brupeg. I love your ship and all amazing work. How many
Is that
gallons
the
of
name? Is that the name?
Dinghy
You
Brupeg?
should name the dinghy. Oh, we've actually named it.
HMAS Fluffy Paws.
Yeah, after Mish.
Was it Fluffy Paws?
Floppy paws, yeah.
I told you.
No, Little Bear.
Oh, sorry, Little
Bear.
Bear. That's right.
Sorry.
Little Bear. Sorry, that's
We
right.
really need to stick the
Yeah,
name on
yeah.
it. Yeah.
We need to put the name on it.
Yeah, yeah. So Mishka is Russian for Little Bear. So
Yeah.
HMAS Little Bear is His Majesty's Australian ship, Little Bear.
When we got him, he could sit in the palm of your hand and he looked like a miniature polar bear. So we called him Mishka, Little Bear.
Yeah. Annie6621, if you haven't seen the answer about fuel and water, I answered it about 5 minutes ago. Just skip back and you'll see that answer. Adrian Page, quick Stu, take another swig. You haven't seen your drink for a minute or two. Absolutely love all your videos, so informative, and love your sense of humour. All the best from the UK.
Nice.
Thank you. I will.
Love your dinghy that used an electric motor. Any tips on choosing a motor for small dinghies? I suppose it really comes down to what's the purpose of the dinghy. Is it something that you need a lot of range, or is it something just to nip back to the shore and back? If it's something that you want to do just short trips, the little trolling motors that we use, the 92 pound 24 volt trolling motors, are really great. They're cheap, they're reliable, and they've got plenty of grunt. Like, you could easily put 4 people in our dinghy and get 5 knots.
Aren't you doing something about the prop though?
Yeah, I want
You're
to.
trying to change that.
I want to 3D print a prop that has more pitch, because I reckon we've underloaded the motor quite a bit, and I think we can probably get a bit more speed out of it. And I'm a boy, so you know, yeah.
You got to.
Yeah. When are you sailing to the east coast of the US? Might be the only chance I get to physically see you all. I don't know when we're going to the US. It's kind of, it'd be at least a few
That'll
years
be
away.
after Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a while away.
Pete Lewis, Paul Lewis, sorry,
Phil,
Stu.
261. Thanks, Phil.
Oh, wicked, thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Stu, it can also show you what's on fire, chemical or electric, etc. That's for your
Yeah. Oh, they're clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's Looking forward to playing with that.
Where are we? Brad Scott, by the way, Damien, did I call the Sydney Hobart race, or did I? Yeah, you did. That was pretty impressive. Brad Scott is one of our Patreons, and when the Sydney Hobart race was happening, me and him were on Messenger, and we were like, "Oh, did you see that? Oh, look at the camera angle, that one." Yeah.
Yeah, it did go on for a while.
2 race boat nutters looking at a yacht race. And Jess was like walking past, going, "Oh my God, you're still watching that? Boats are so boring like that."
Yeah, it's not my thing.
Really. Rickard.
Hello from Sweden.
Hello from Sweden. Danger. I'm not sure if that's Dangar or Danger. I mean, it's pretty ubiquitous.
What's a vowel between friends?
Yeah. 2 favourite blogs together.
Awesome.
Oh, they've moved. I'm trying to catch up with all the comments and they keep moving. Where are we?
So I'll fill the time while you do that, because I
You do
saw
that.
a question about
Yeah, go
did
for
I
it.
enjoy my time in the US, and yes, I did. It was great. Everyone we met was awesome. Beautiful landscape. So we were actually talking about this yesterday. The US is sort of blessed with a amazing geography. Australia's flat, dry. You see something interesting, you drive 1,000 kilometres and you see something interesting, you know, but there's nothing in between. You know, I love the country, don't get me wrong, but you're driving. So we drove ultimately a lot of sort of Boston area to go and see Acorn Arabella up there, and then drove Chicago to LA, and it was just amazing how much the scenery changed, and everyone we met was really friendly. I think other than one taxi driver, I didn't get into a single fight. It was great. Like, so yeah, no, it was awesome.
You didn't shoot anyone.
No, we had a great time. Definitely go back. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Cool.
Couple of quick questions. So Brad Scott, I'd like to know about what Jess's background is. She seems up to speed on everything mechanical and structural.
Yeah, that's my family. Hey, they're engineers or the builders, or you know, I was always on work yards. My favourite place was in the workshop, or you know, yeah. I'm not trained at all. I just pick it up, but I've got kind of that kind of mind, you know. So yeah, and of course, getting married to him, you know, it's all about the engineering.
She can weld and plasma cut with the best of them.
Yeah, but I could really. This project I've got real holes in that knowledge, so it's been fun filling those gaps when I can. But there's some things I just can't get my head around, like electrics. No electrics.
They're black magic.
Oh my God, I know. I try really hard, I just can't get
It's
it.
a dark art.
Peter PB Renko would make a great tender for Brupeg. We have talked.
I like the other one that said a tugboat. That's better.
Yeah, we have talked about like Russian dolls. We have Brupeg,
Yeah.
then Renko, then the little electric dinghy. Yeah.
It would be interesting to see whether it could, what speed it could take.
Yeah,
us
yeah.
in no current.
We should do bollard pulling each other backwards or whatever.
No, that's cheap. No.
We'll just have the.
How many horsepower is your Cummins?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Before the race, it doesn't matter. After the race, I'll tell you.
Okay.
350. But we'll just run it on 3 cylinders or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull some injector
Pull some
pipes off.
injectors. Yeah. Tim Pierce, when are you going to make? When are you going to build an ROV, and what's it going to look like? I'm not 100% sure, but what's the Steve Sisu?
Oh yeah.
What's the ROV that they use?
Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
That's the direct copy of what we're going to build.
So, actually, I quite like RVs, so I've been interested in this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a company called, I think it's Blue Robotics, don't check, because it's confusing, because there's Blue Eye, which is just a manufactured one. But Blue Robotics make an ROV, but it's a entirely open source project, so all the electronics are open source. The software is actually open source software that came from radio controlled planes or something, and it's all been melded in. There's a book they sell that's on how to use all their components. You can buy a thruster, buy ballast, buy whatever. So I think if you're going to build one now, I wouldn't build one from scratch. I'd check out their site, because then it's entirely user serviceable. They sell every spare part. You can build it with the number of lights you want, whatever. And then, run open source software to your laptop. And I'm kind of quite interested in that now.
Yeah,
So
cool.
I think if you're interested in doing an ROV and maybe a custom one, building it yourself, don't get me wrong, it'd be great to do it from absolute scratch. But if you're looking at finding a midpoint where you'll be up and running quicker, maybe in the description of this video we'll find the link later and pop it in or something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Have you thought about lightning protection for a steel boat with all the electronics on board? I've thought about it, and I know nothing about it.
We've got to deal with that.
I would like to have some. That's what I'll say on that.
We'll get to it.
Where is Stu? Can be the backup tug if required. Did you ever try contacting the original Brupeg builder,
He dropped in.
Harry Pearson?
Yeah, Bruce and Peggy, Brupeg is their name. They dropped in, they left us a note, we got in touch, and we've been back and forth heaps. It's been great. Yeah.
Oh, you weren't
He's
here when
watching
they
the build.
dropped
No.
by,
No, we weren't here that weekend. Yeah.
Craig, how much dollars to fully fuel Brupeg? So this is partly why we want to run Brupeg on waste vegetable oil. So if we were to, from empty to full, if we were to fill Brupeg up with the ice tank, so 27,500 litres, you're looking at close to $45,000, depending on like what the fuel price is at the time. I think it's based on $1.50 a litre, which is kind of roughly where it seems to bounce around in Australia a lot of the time. If we were to do the exact same thing running on veg oil, we'd have change from $4,000, so it's about $3,700, depending on exchange rates and things like that. So it's a massive difference in terms of cost. To give you an idea, we can steam Brupeg for 24 hours on veg oil, and it costs us $68. So it's cheaper.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, and then you split that between the amount of people that are on the boat, it becomes incredibly cheap to take Brupeg places, and that's partly why the boat kind of has unique characteristics. Like when we're doing like research trips and things like that, like research that is hard to get funded or things like that, it actually becomes possible to do it because the cost of doing it in this boat is so low.
And the system that we're going to use is not a commercial system to do any of those sorts of jobs.
Yeah,
so
we build the whole lot. So
yeah.
Is it normal to wear a cowboy hat indoors?
It seems so.
Yeah.
Normal things don't happen on boats.
No.
You talk, Andrew Brown, you talked about recessing the anodes into your hull for navigating through ice. Is this part of the work that will be done on the next lift out? So yeah, all of the ice mods will be done when we haul out next, but I don't know about recessing them in now.
I would love to, but I don't know. It's a lot of work, hey?
I'm in two minds, but I think it's probably me overthinking things. Like I'll probably defer to like Lars and the team on Polar Sector, SY Polar Sector. Those guys know what they're talking about and they've done this. So rather than me try and reinvent the wheel and make a whole bunch of guesses and then hope it's going to be right, I think I'll actually just get the information from people that know what they're doing and then set it up similar to what they've done.
But also we've been told by quite a few people who are boat builders for ice work, and a lot of people who have spent a lot of time in those regions, that this boat could go now without a problem.
Yeah.
It's just those cooling pipes need to come off, that's all. So the stuff we're going to be doing to strengthen it's all extra, really.
Hang on. Is Mike Johnson, is it allowed for women to wear their hats indoors, not men? And then two comments later he says, that is only her akubra. It absolutely is my akubra.
It is. He never lets me wear it. This is a rare occurrence.
I don't want you to start anything here.
Can we just go back a little bit? Sorry, just a totally random thing, but is it Leandro watching from Trinidad and Tobago? I'm actually amazed the number of times I've had comments from people from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
it's
right.
actually really interesting. Obviously
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
boating nation, you know, because it's amazing how many times I see, oh, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, so
Yeah.
hello.
We make it there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kerry Green, regarding weight, will you be adding additional ballast to her to set her deeper into the water?
I think we will, eh?
Possibly, yeah.
But we won't know until it's one of the trials.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're going to launch the boat and then we'll be trimming based with weight. So we don't know where we need to trim yet. So hence we're going to go with no ballast and then see what we need to do. But we do that in the water so that we can trim it fore and aft and side to side.
And it's really usual here, you know, that a new build like this goes in and the marine is really great with that. They support you to pull you out, help you do it. So
Eco Boater, are you guys still going to use veg oil as fuel? Yes, we are. Initially, no. So initially everything's set up for diesel, mainly because of dump and run. We need the boat in the water and then we can start doing those modifications. But yes, absolutely, as soon as we can, the plan is to be onto veg oil. Stuart, it's great to see you like a great South Aussie beer Cooper. Happy Australia's Day
Happy Australia Day.
to all you. And can you thank my wife Julie's for putting up with watching you guys first thing in the morning.
Who wasn't Julie?
Trooper.
Aw.
Trooper's wife Julie.
Oh, thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Julie.
Nate,
I hope you make it to the States soon, Trips Walters. Hope you make it to the States soon.
say what? Hope you.
Trucy. Yes, little beer.
Everyone's
Is it normal to be?
Alright.
Are there any Chinese in here? What? No, no pink today. DC Allen, no pink today. My welding shirt is actually out the back. I did offer it to Stu, but he declined for some reason.
A sweaty pink shirt. Thanks.
Yeah. Rob Roth, sorry about your pup. Can you explain what the requirements are for crew? Thanks.
Different. So we have two sort of parts to that. There's permanent crew who will always be on board. We're after someone who can manage sort of medical stuff, and we're after another person who's more all about boats and navigating and stuff like that. And then for each expedition or project, it'll be a unique group of people. It might be one project may be very IT heavy, so there'll be a lot of IT people on board, and so on. So just look on the website. We go into a bit of detail on that, and you can find out. And you can also just put an application in if you can.
Yeah.
Even just to find out more, just send an application in and we can get in touch.
Yeah, and we'll have a chat, and yeah, it's an easy way to sort of start to know us, and we can know you, and we can have more of a detailed conversation about like skill bases and that sort of thing, and areas of skills that we don't have on the boat that we need and things like that.
Yeah. So crew is different from volunteering.
Yeah.
So there's permanent crew, there's crews for different projects and expeditions, and then there's volunteering that's across the spectrum that anytime.
And there's different skill sets that are needed for each one. So if you don't fit one, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't be on Brupeg. It might just be for a different type of thing that we end up talking to you about.
And remember, for us, like looking after the crew is actually a crew position.
Yeah.
On any project, like if you're good at cooking, if you just like cleaning up, if you just want to be on an expedition boat, if you just want to be a part of it, there's no limit to the skills that we can use. So please get in touch. Don't be limited.
Paul Lewis drag race. Who's dressing up as what?
Oh, RuPaul Drag Race. We'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
I got longer legs than you, though.
Yeah. The dress code can be tidy dress. We both have to wear tidy dresses.
Tidy dresses.
Yeah. Well, I'll be wearing a pink shirt, I guess. But, right, Grant Plank, glad to finally catch one of your live feeds. G'day, Stu. How you going, Grant? Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So,
Bigfoot
NZ.
NZ.
Where's NZ? The sort of sea trials, shakedown things are really good questions. I haven't really, have I? Maybe I haven't, I've lost it, but I've started putting together a bit of a sea trial document, just getting the general advice off the net. What are the sorts of things you should tick off to get to the point where you go, right, here are the sea trials I'll do before leaving the harbour. So I've got to have run for, 8 hours straight with no temperature increases, do hard turns for stability, ballasting. So I can't tell you itinerary. I can't tell you when yet, but there's definitely going to be quite a prescribed document for the sea trials that I'll collect from tips from people, and I'm presuming there's some floating around the net, because I do want to make it much more. I'm not normally that organised, as you may have noticed, with things.
Get
like that.
out of town.
Yeah, down.
But that is actually one thing I do want to do in a very structured way. So anyone has any tips on, you definitely should add this to your, to the point where you're saying, right, check this.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything from the engine coolant leaks through to rudder stability, lights, the whole lot. So I'm going to try and be pretty structured with that. And I guess you probably go through the same process. We could probably share that.
I was going to say, we'll
document.
probably have a similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, it's amazing. I've got to get to who it is first.
Right,
Someone's just donated $100 Canadian. We can't see who it is yet. We have to scroll through the comments to see the name. I'm just trying to... Yeah, I'm just trying to... Where is it? Grant. Oh, Grant!
Oh,
God, you're awesome, mate.
wow, thank you.
Thank you very much, Grant.
Oh,
Right, where are we? I'm all over the place.
It's annoying the way it jumps like
it
that.
does jump, eh? Jonathan, thank you.
Oh, yes, Jonathan Baker, thank you.
Are you coming up to the UK area? Yes, that's definitely the plan, definitely. It's just going to take a while, but we'll be doing this for a few years, so...
Ian Morris, will you travel? Oh, hang on, Oh, Jonathan Baker, hi from England. How's the weather and fires? Are you coming up to the UK? Fires in Queensland are okay. We're not really near anything. Like, a lot of the big stuff is sort of south of us. Actually, where Scott and Stu are, that's sort of much more closer to the fire area. You had some big ones around you, didn't you?
Yeah, we've had a lot of smoke at home. Fire's probably only 20 or 30 k's in a straight line from home. They're all contained.
Yeah.
But it's scary.
Yeah.
And it makes you really aware of, if something does go wrong, what do I need if I need to get out?
Yeah.
Like, we've got go bags ready and everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
fire
don't,
comes,
need to go.
you jump in the car and you go to a safe place.
and you don't often get a lot of warning as well.
You don't.
You get a wind shift and then all of a
Can move
sudden
fast.
it's completely changed. And you had heaps around you, eh?
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
smoke.
yeah.
And, yeah.
And there's been rains down around Sydney the
Yeah.
last few weeks, eh?
Well, it's weird actually. So we did have rain finally, and then it was after the rain we had our first truly local fire. So
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not enough to soak in.
No.
It's been too dry for too long.
Yeah.
Ian Morris, will you travel the Northwest Passage and visit the recently discovered site of HMS Terror in Erebus? I'd love to do that. I think that would be awesome.
It'd be really interesting.
Particularly the position now that it's known. Like Brupeg is capable of going through that area, but it's probably not big enough. It's not an icebreaker, so it's not big enough to sort of stay in that area for a long, long time. So the fact that the location is known is great because we can kind of steam straight to that spot and then chuck a diver in or chuck ROV in and actually go and have a real good look at it. And I'd love to document some of that stuff. We probably have to get permission and things. I imagine they probably protect that pretty carefully, given that it's pretty significant wreck. But it'd be amazing to be able to show some of that online, eh?
And the Northwest Passage has been on our top list.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
In fact,
as
Northwest was on our to-do list before Antarctica.
It was, yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely it's somewhere we want to go to. Greetings from North Cape, Norway. That's awesome. Norwegian Patriot. Yeah.
Cool.
I have cell phone based infrared camera, works great, from Tim Pierce. I got couches here for you to sleep on the East Coast. Harry Green.
Cool.
Doofa, Gmail, hello from Texas. You're my first boat channel. When are you launching?
Yeah, the plan is three to 4 months from now. So we're aiming for 3. It's a heap of work to get through. As long as nothing goes wrong, we should make that target, but we'll keep you updated. And I say that
You've been in this game long enough.
I know. We're
No,
at that point where it's like, no, that's enough. We're doing it.
You can say
I don't care if we're scrambling at the last minute. We're
you
doing
can say
it.
3 months, just don't say when it starts.
That's it.
Yeah. Jason, don't know how you say this. Jason Trezes. Hi guys, love your channel. Been a
Thanks.
subscriber to your channel since the start. Both you and Stu's live 20 minutes away from Stu. You're both awesome.
Oh, neat.
That's
thanks.
awesome. Where are we? Big Bad Buddha. Are you going to cover the HVAC units on the front to protect from ice? Yeah, we will. So likely we're not going to be using those for heat when we go into the ice. So we can kind of just box them up and really put some protection over them. Likewise with the solar, this will all be in the ice modification episode, but the solar's coming off as well. When we go south, the sun's too low an angle to actually make any solar power, and those panels are just going to get destroyed by ice. So all of those will be coming off when we go down to the ice.
Which means we can use that roof for other
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Cool.
landing a helicopter and so on. We should get a
Or
model,
drones,
a
I
model
think.
helicopter. It just
all
landed.
perspective.
Yeah.
And I'll send a shout out to my mate Matt. I've got your text messages.
Nice.
So who will be the first in the water, Seeker or Brupeg? I so hope that we're the first in the water.
It won't be 3 months.
I'm not competitive, but I so hope we're in. That's a lie. I'm the most competitive person I know. We need a jet yacht race, sails and jet turbines.
Yeah.
Would having the anchor chain tube rolled instead of a short pipe length be an option? Yeah, it is an option. If we did that, we'd probably do it out of stainless. Just get a sheet of stainless and roll it up. I'm open to that. It's just expensive. You know, if I was to buy a sheet of 6mm stainless, I probably wouldn't have any change from $1,000.
Didn't we see a huge pipe at the scrapyard yesterday?
Oh, it's only this long.
Oh.
And that's minimum. I need probably something about that.
Oh, what the one we saw was like
It's only about 400 or so,
Yeah.
and it's only that long. So it's
Was it?
Yeah, not long enough.
No, okay, I thought it was. Yeah, anyway.
Unless I'm thinking of something totally different.
That's all
Rex, what Brupeg really needs is some chickens. Love them.
Yeah, that would be good.
Would be.
right. Totally.
Yeah.
Back
The only,
That's
actually, I've got to say, I obviously love my chickens, and I like the idea of taking them or with me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like them too much to take them away from the land. They like to scratch and to
Yeah.
let them do their
Yeah.
thing. Like I wouldn't want to increase my enjoyment by putting them in something they wouldn't enjoy.
Unnatural,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
Otherwise, I would do it.
Yeah. The Polo Rick, I upgraded my electric boat motor with a larger prop from eBay really cheap. Had to modify the mounting on the back of the prop with a router, but works really well. That's good to know.
all
Thank
doable,
you.
Yeah.
EcoBoater, what are you guys using for internet when out on your travels? Pretty standard stuff. Probably just satellite internet for the stuff that we need to have critical internet, but it's expensive and we won't be putting up like episodes over it. Bandwidth and stuff will be pretty limited. There'll be a fair bit of latency and all that sort of stuff. It's reliable, but it has its drawbacks in terms of latency and cost and things like that. We did look at doing an option where we use SSB to essentially bounce signals to a land station and then upload from the land station to YouTube. It's possible to do like live streaming via SSB. There's a bit of work involved and you've got to put a fair bit of kit on the boat to do it. But once that's done, you've got incredibly low cost internet to be able to do that. I don't know what the latency would be like, but the fact that it's essentially a free system once you've bought the gear is a big plus. But if Elon actually goes and shakes a leg and gets some satellites up in the air, we could be using Starlink. So who knows? Like in 5 years' time, that conversation could be totally different, and the equipment that we use, could be completely different than what we think of. So it's not something that's on our radar at the moment, but it is definitely something that we need to figure out because we want to be able to do live streams when we're in Antarctica and things like that.
Yeah, particularly our patrons, we want them to be with us through as much of the journey as we can and be able to access us whenever they want. So we're going to keep doing that. We're going to figure a way. Jess, how did
Peter Hawkins, Jess, how did you and Damien first meet? I was so romantic.
We met in a nightclub, which I never went to, that Dame frequented about 15 years ago. And the seas parted and there he was in all his engineering glory. Yeah, we dated and it was really quick. We got married really fast. We knew we were right for each other. We didn't sort of waste our time mucking around. We just want to get on with it. So, yeah, it was great.
D. Lucifer, I think they need Russians. I love them. Okay.
I think they need Russians. I love them.
Greg Comerfoot.
Oh.
Hey Stu, where did you get your Alpine Green paint from?
It's an interesting question actually. So I found a manufacturer that sells it, and they didn't sell to the public. And I went through all this hoo-ha, and it turned out that they said, "Oh, by the way, Repco in Hornsby, in Waitara is a dealer for us." And I went, "Can I get this?" I went, "Yeah."
Oh.
So Repco is the short answer of it. Turned out to be much easier than I thought.
Australia has wombats. I'll trade you a small mountain for a wombat. Okay, provided you pay for shipping.
Yeah.
You guys are making great content. Thanks for that. Where is the most beautiful spot you've gone to in our lovely country? I'm actually going to let you answer this because you've been more places.
Whose lovely country?
Aussie, Ben Craig.
Oh, so my favourite spot is actually Mungarangi Station, I think it's called, on the Birdsville track. You go down it, you're sort of in the desert. Then there's like a restaurant, with all the Cooperas on the roof, really old school, and a hot spring, water buffalo. Like, it's just this amazing sort of oasis in the middle of the desert. And I think that's actually the place that I looked at and went, wow, this is pretty cool. I would definitely go back.
How about you, Scott?
Definitely for me, the Snowy Mountains in summer is an absolutely amazing place. Not obviously now it's on fire, but in the summer, bushwalking, like the walk from the top of Threadbow to the top of
up to Siemens Hut and Lake Albina around there. It's beautiful.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of hiking up there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew. Got that?
Yeah, we'll deal with that.
Yeah,
Andrew.
we'll deal with that. Thank you.
We have a spammer.
We are aware.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh.
We have a spammer.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to say?
We're gonna
Yeah.
finish soon. Just a few more minutes and.
Eco boat. I see Jess's T-shirt says "Start something and nothing about finishing," but nothing's ever finished on a boat.
Oh, Tim's he made the 3D printed frame for the Blue Robotics.
Oh right.
Nice.
Ah.
Yeah, Tim's right into ROVs
I'll
and
have to
stuff.
talk to you then.
Yeah. Stu, how was the visit with Bus Grease Monkey?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Scott and Kelly were a lot of fun. We had a good I was telling just quick, I know we're running out of time, but it was funny. We went and had some Chinese with Scott afterwards, and we were just having dinner. And then something happened at like a 7-Eleven or something, and all these cop cars came up. I was telling you yesterday,
Only Stu.
and we were sitting at the window eating our Chinese, and then all the cops run into the 7-Eleven, but they left this big police car, like full drive, with the lights going. I said, "Oh, Scott, let's go out and press ourselves against the police car and get a photo saying we've been arrested." He's like, "I'm in." Like, we'll do it. But then they came back. But no, he was a lot of fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Where are we? Stu had a traditional name change ceremony for Renko. Will there be any pomp and circumstance before Brupeg gets wet? The only pomp really comes
Probably
from
not.
me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damien driving. Yeah.
Nah, probably not. We're not really like Stu.
No pomp,
No pomp.
no ceremony.
Will you be ready for another best friend doggo someday?
Maybe someday. Yeah, we're still dealing with it. It's it's like the first month was really unbearable, and then we're managing, but it's not something that's happening fast. So yeah, it's a long way away in the future if it's going to happen, I think. But who knows?
There's a couple of questions. Stu, have you thought about running veg oil?
I did think about it until Damien described all the ins and outs of it, and then I decided, and also the tipping point of the economics. It's because I only hold 1,000 litres instead of 27,000 litres. There's certainly a point where it makes sense investing in the preheaters and all that kind of stuff, the filters. But for me, I just don't think I'm at that tipping point. So probably not. I like the idea, particularly as someone who is quite environmentally aware, despite owning a Detroit diesel. I do care about the environment, and so it does appeal to me. But I'm not sure how practical it is for a boat of that size, which means I have to just do a bigger boat.
Yeah. DC Allen, how long to fill that tank? It depends on how fast you pump it, but for us on veg oil, we're looking at up to 3 days from taking all the fuel off a wharf, processing it and putting it into the tanks. Are you stockpiling fuel now? We actually started stockpiling fuel and the whole lot went rancid. So that
There's
didn't
a learning
work.
curve.
So we had
that's how you learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 ton of rancid oil to get rid of. So we're starting to revise that plan.
Yeah. We're going to wait until we know we're going straight in the water, and then we'll start.
Oh, Tim Pierce, this is awesome. Why can't pigeons sing in the Sydney Opera House? Because acoustics. That's an excellent dad joke.
I love dad jokes.
Veg oil will attract fish for fish and chips. How many boats did the original builder build? I'm not actually sure. I don't know. I think it might have just been this one. Yeah.
And he built it in 12 months.
Yeah, with the help of
Yeah.
Oily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
Bruce and a Boilermaker, and the two of them from
From scratch.
first plates to fishing in 12 months.
Yeah,
Like
amazing.
phenomenal.
Nuts.
Yeah.
The welding's awesome.
Digima Madison, this is one of our Patreons. I am so keen to sail the Northwest Passage just so that when we start I can climb on the bow and sing Stan Rogers' Northwest Passage as loud as I can.
Cool.
How Canadian are you?
Yeah.
I know passengers lose their wallets when they step on powerboats. We're $4 a gallon for red diesel in North California. Okay, yep. Yeah, so it'd be pretty expensive to fill Brupeg up in there.
So we should start finishing up.
Yep.
So any last comments and things, guys? We'll finish in a minute.
Could you please explain for us some of the research projects you plan for Brupeg?
Well, I'm really interested in pollution studies. It's my sort of thing. I'm really interested in rubbish, how it's affecting the planet. So it'll be along those lines, but there's so much that's possible. I don't want to do any animal research on Brupeg, but anything other than that is possible. There's a lot of stuff to do first, get the boat in the water and all of that before we start actually honing down what we're going to do. And it depends what people need a boat like this for. We're kind of unique, so.
So a question about will the Detroit run in veggies. Detroit's actually very good at running on just about anything you put in them. That's sort of one of their strengths, so yes.
Biofuel might be interesting, eh?
One of our patrons,
Biodiesel even,
one of our patrons, Andrew Tinnock, actually runs a Detroit or he has run a Detroit on veg oil. He's done 5,000 hours in a commercial boat. So yeah, Detroits are capable of doing it really quite well.
Didn't he try a Kubota?
Yeah, he tried a Kubota and killed a couple of them, I think. But Detroit will you can stick anything in them, toothbrushes, whatever. And how much fuel does it hold range? Also for both of you, what is the average speed of your boat? So I don't know. We actually don't know what the average speed of this boat is. I suppose you don't know yours.
I kind of. So when I went up the coast with a really dirty hull and a terrible condition engine or whatever, 8 was comfortable. Apparently we'll do 12, but because it's such a short boat, waterline length's very important in a displacement boat for how fast it can go. So being only 30 foot, you'd be burning a lot of fuel if you didn't keep to sort of 7-ish, I reckon, 7 or 8. You can go faster, but you'll just burn fuel and you'll go 10% faster and burn twice as much fuel. So for me, it's going to be about finding the sweet spot for the right speed to burn the least fuel for the nautical miles you go.
Yeah. Crikey.
We've just found the spammer, thanks guys.
That spammer is pretty insistent.
Oh.
Hi.
Can you save that link for me?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm actually finding it hard to find the questions in amongst all the spammers.
Big Bad Buddha. Thank you.
Where are we? Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
thank
Wow,
you.
okay, cool. Crikey dick. Following both your channels, but spam, you guys really need to get some mods. It's literally everybody you see on this couch is running this channel right now.
Oh, is that part of that, is it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, having someone off to the side. Can someone do moderation remotely? I don't even know.
Probably.
Yeah, you can assign.
Yeah, that'd be good to do it remotely. Yeah.
Chat.
We're just blocking a
Trying
few
to
things.
just get through the spam. I don't know how that happened, but anyway. Expected cruising speed of each of your boats. So we're guessing ours.
9, eh?
We're guessing ours is sort of 9 will be pretty comfortable, and then we can probably bump it up a bit higher, but we don't know yet.
Thank you, Jonathan. Did the spam go unreported?
Oh, nice.
Good man.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
What a good citizen.
Ah, it's awesome.
Doofa?
Please block this. Thank you guys. I appreciate what you're doing. Do for Gmail.
Oh,
thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I think the trouble people might not realise is because David and Jess are scrolling slowly through messages in chronological order.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
only
it's
just
difficult.
caught up to the spam.
Yeah. We're quite a bit behind the actual live
Yeah,
questions, if that makes
yeah.
sense. New steering wheel, Damien, Jim Nichols. We're so getting one, mate.
There's a Momo up there now.
Yeah.
It's getting upgraded.
Yes, thanks. The spam is
Oh,
gone.
thanks, Shane. Yeah.
I've spammed about 5 times, but it's still went on. Yeah, sorry about that, dude.
What's the snacks?
What? Where?
What we're eating?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Nuts
sorts.
and
Macadamia.
Yeah.
Australian nuts.
Macadamias, apples,
Dried
cookies,
apricots.
dried apricots.
I'm surprised it went away if there was a ton of
Ever considered a bow thruster?
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. It's just the amount of work and money to put
Cost-
it in right now.
cost
We'd love
mainly.
to, yeah.
Brad Palmer, what size is Brupeg's water tanks? At the moment, she's got 7 tonne of water, so 3,500 litre tanks. And when we go down to the ice, we're actually going to convert those to fuel tanks, and we'll have a water maker on with a smaller amount of water, like maybe a tonne of water. We'll probably put that in the engine bay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we need all the fuel we can get. So 7 tonne of water is probably excessive. And yeah, 1,000 litres will be enough for now. Stu, you could drive the Landy and the boat. Think about it. Okay.
I am all the
visual
Canadian.
maybe.
Oh, right.
Think about it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I am all the
Saying hi
Canadian.
from the Sud Coast.
Yeah.
Grow your own fuel.
So hull speed, I think it would be an interesting topic for a video because there is a formula for calculating hull speed.
Yeah.
And it'd be worth doing a little vid on that alone.
Eco boater, are you going to have divers on board? Yes, we are.
Depending on the
Yeah.
the job or the expedition, yeah, definitely.
Sean, hey Sean. I saw your message finally.
Chinto Carter, what is Brupeg's hull speed? I don't know, to be really fair. I worked it out a long time ago, but I don't know the actual waterline length. I think it's 55 feet or 54 feet, something like that. So you can do the formula there. She's 18 feet wide, and I think it's something like 11 knots or something is theoretical hull speed, but it takes 200 horsepower to get to hull speed, and we've got 350, so we won't be able to go much over hull speed, maybe half a knot if we're lucky. But yeah, that's roughly where we're sort of limited at.
So we need to stop.
Yeah.
So interesting question
thanks,
about
Ted.
running diesel on LNG, and it was talking to Scott about doing gas injection on the Detroits onto diesel. So
Yeah.
there's a few different options, not just running purely on it, but doing the injection on top of the diesel.
Right, we've got to go.
I reckon, Laurie, I'm just going to race to the bottom of it.
All right.
Stu did it with a dirty bottom. How dirty? That's not the type of show that we are. That's why I asked, what is the hull speed of Brupeg? Honestly, I don't know what the hull speed of
Hello
Brupeg
from
is.
Texas.
Detroit. How's it said? Detroit. I should practice my accent.
Hello from Netherlands.
You can make anyone a chat mod.
10 past 11, time for bed in the UK.
Yeah, Kosava.
Hi from Kosovo.
Yes, that spammer was cancer. Yeah, mini builder. Yes, you can add mods if you want me as a mod. I'll be glad to.
You should look into trash
Yep.
energy.
Trash to energy plants. Hi from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What does that mean? Trash.
Trash to energy is like more of a land-based thing where you can basically, in a way, you can burn trash, create energy, and then power electrics.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah.
We
Okay.
we probably can't store enough rubbish
No,
to do that.
No.
Your Wi-Fi's dropped on your laptop, so you may lose.
Oh, has it? Okay. Apparently my Wi-Fi, my laptop's gone.
Time to go. Sorry, guys.
I think we have to go.
We've got to go and build the boat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
11.25 knots. Tim Pierce. Thank you. Someone's just found a
Okay, I'm
calculator
cutting you
online.
off. I'm cutting you
Yeah.
off.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you guys coming along.
Yeah. Thanks for all your donations and all your thoughts.
Yeah, so
Brilliant.
in the description, if you're interested in Stu's channel, we're going to put a link to his channel so you can click on his and subscribe. And we'll also put a link to the ROV store that we talked about earlier.
And Tim Pierce is going to send me an email. 'Cause he's
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks very much.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye.